students, I am Bhagyashree Angurkar. Welcome you to the Jyoti PU College. I am your physics lecturer and I am going to deal with certain concepts of your subject. Mahesh sir already had given you the brief introduction about the syllabus, the mark distribution. So the physics subject is been divided into two parts, part 1 and part 2, and we both will deal with the chapters which are there in those two parts. I am going to study here the third chapter, motion in a straight line. So Mahesh sir had already begun with the first chapter, that is physical world, wherein we have understood the meaning for physics. So physics is nothing but study of nature. So for that we need to observe the nature. We have to understand what happenings are there in the nature. So when we look through it, we could see that the objects in front of you, they are moving from one point to the other. So the branch of physics which mainly deals with motion of objects is called as mechanics. So here we will be concentrating on the term what? Mechanics. So it is nothing but branch of physics which deals with study of what? Motion of a body or object. So mechanics is defined in this manner. It is further classified into three. First is statics, second one is kinematics, and the third is dynamics. So we'll see what do you mean by these three terms. So first, when we go with statics, it is nothing but study of motion of such objects which are not moving at all. Means we know that whenever an object is moving, it requires a force which has to act on it. Okay. So object is there, I need to apply some force, then only the object will move. Now in certain cases what will happen, there will be number of forces which are acting on the given object. So if this is an object, on this number of forces from different directions may act. But it is found that the object will remain in a balanced state. Means it won't change its position at all. Wherever it is kept, there only the object will be. Here, if F1 is the force acting along this direction, F2 is the other force acting along this direction, F3 here, F4 along this direction. So net effect, or if we sum the total of forces which are acting on that given object, if it is found to be equivalent to 0, then that object, even it is under the effect of force, it is said to be under the rest position or balanced state. So what had happened here? The forces F1, F2 plus F3 plus F4, it is equivalent to 0. So that the net force which is acting on the given object, if it is 0, then that branch of mechanics is called as what? Statics. That is called as statics. So the second type is kinematics. So here we are concentrating on study of motion of the objects, without taking into consideration, means without taking into consideration the cause or the reason behind the motion of the object. So when I throw an object, the object will move in a particular manner. So I am not concerned about I have thrown with certain force or whether the object had collided with something and then it had moved. So I am not concerned about why the object had started its motion. Only that I am concerned about its motion. How it is moving, what is the velocity it had attained, what is the acceleration, what may be the distance the object may travel. study motion of such objects without considering the cause or reason behind the motion, that branch of mechanics is called as what? Kinematics. The third type is dynamics. Here we are concentrating on study of motion of objects by considering the cause behind the motion. Okay, whether it has been thrown, whether the objects have collided, what is the basic reason behind the motion of that particular object will be seen. So here we are concerned about what? Force. So in this concept we will study about what is force. When I apply the force, what is the velocity, acceleration attained by the objects. Apart from it, we will study about the meaning of various parameters. So students, one point I need to tell you that in physics we will come across various different terms. So from now onwards you need to prepare a list of such words, okay, which are newer to you. Translate them in the language what you understand, that is Kannada, English, Marathi, Hindi, whatever, and then learn that thing. Because for 11 we need to understand the basic meaning of whatever terms you come across. Note down them, make a dictionary type, write down their meaning, and that will be helpful for you for your further studies. So we will move with the concept. So here we have studied the three branches. One is statics, kinematics, and what? Dynamics. So here we are considering of motion of the objects which are not moving at all. Here without considering the cause of motion, and here with considering the cause of motion. So what is meant by motion? Why the object is under motion? Whether every object is moving or anything you can see is rest. So it is a universal law that every object, okay, every object in nature, it is under motion. So if this is the universal law, then why I am saying this board to be at rest? Okay, whether it is under motion or at rest, actually it is under motion. We know that earth is moving, so the object which is lying inside it, on it, will be also moving. So therefore the blackboard is also moving. But depending upon what condition you have applied for the blackboard, we will define the terms as rest, or the other is motion. Rest means something which is not moving at all. Motion is something which is changing its state. So for that we need to concentrate on two terms. One is the distance and the second is position. So here distance means something which is changing its distance. The length is changing, and position means it is shifting from one point to the other. If you take the example for a train, I am sitting in a train, a person is in front of me, he is also sitting. We are sitting together in a compartment for 2 hours, we have not changed our positions at all. The distance between us, it is 3 meters, it is constant throughout those 2 hours. So for us, the compartment is the area where I am thinking about what is the state between us. So for me, the compartment is my surrounding. So what surrounding you choose, depending upon that, we classify the state to be at the state of rest or at the state of what? Motion. So for us, we are in a state of rest because we are not changing our position, we are not changing the distance between us. Now the same example for a train, I am sitting in a train, a person is there outside standing on the platform. At the beginning the train is at rest, then it starts moving, it picks up the speed, and for the person who is standing outside, okay, I am changing my position. So the distance between us increases. So for him, I am in a state of what? Motion. Because the distance between us increase, my position is changing. So when these two components comes together, we will define the state of that given object. So for us, the earth is now the surrounding, that is the ground is our surrounding, and since we are changing our distance and position, we are in a state of what? Motion. So to define the motion and rest, we need the terms surrounding, position, and whether I am changing the position with the time or not, that concern. So therefore we have defined the rest as in, if the object do not change its position with respect to the surrounding after a certain time, then that state is called as the rest state. That is, the position is not changing and with respect to a particular surrounding. Now in that example I have taken compartment of the train to be my surrounding. Okay, and we have not changed our position at all with respect to time. Therefore we were together in a state of what? Rest. Then the term comes motion. So motion is nothing but if the object changes its position with respect to surrounding. So it is changing its position with respect to surrounding in a given interval of time or after certain time, then that state is called as a motion. Concludes the topic, whatever is today's content. One more important thing is, when we teach the concept, you are supposed to make a note of yourself. We will be providing you with a copy or PDF for it. But thing is, to understand the content, you need to prepare your own notes. That is, whatever we teach, you need to note down, okay, how you have understood it. Then the concept will be simpler for you. And the remaining content of this chapter we will see in next class. Thank you.